okay, just the two top questions. One, if FSU wins, according to the Tim Murray Bible, they're in, right? No matter how they win, yes?
I agree, yeah.
Okay.
We have not seen a undefeated Power 5 champion get left out. I don't think it helped, Gill, that Louisville lost this past weekend, but what did help is that Louisville only dropped to 14 in the rankings. So, my thought process all along was, look, if they beat Louisville, prior to Louisville losing to Kentucky last weekend, it's a top 10 win. So they're not going to get left out. I still believe that. I still believe Florida State controls its own destiny, so to speak. So, I think Florida State is in no matter what, as long as they win. If they lose, they're out. I think it's that simple, and I think the committee will do that. So, I am in belief that Florida State is in with a win.
The other thing is, if it ends up with all the results, ends up in a
it can get really messy.
Yeah, if it comes down to an Alabama versus Texas decision, what is your instinct on how the committee's going to go? Obviously, Texas having beaten Alabama earlier this season.
I'm just of the belief, while I think results need to matter, and I remember last year Nick Saban talking about odds makers and power ratings. At the end of the day, they had 2 losses last year, right? And I'm a big believer, hey, man, we're gamblers. This is a gambling network, but at the end of the day, results have to matter, and Texas beat Alabama. That said, if Alabama beats Georgia, I believe they will get in over Texas, because we have yet to have a situation, Gill, whether we agree with it or not, where the SEC, the perceived best conference in college football, has been left out of the party. And I have a hard time envisioning Alabama, who would have beaten Georgia, which therefore would become the best win of the college football season, would be left out of the tournament. So there's part of me that hopes it does happen, just to see the utter chaos in the final four-team playoff. But then there's also, I'll say this, Gil, just as a football fan, and, apologies to the Seminole fans out there, I hope Florida State loses, because I believe the 4 best football teams in college football right now are Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and Texas. And I would love to see those 4 teams in a playoff. I think that would be phenomenal for us as bettors, phenomenal for us as college football fans. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not. But I think the cleanest and best conference championship would be Oregon beats Washington. They go to 3. Texas beats Oklahoma State. Louisville beats Florida State, and then we've got Georgia, Texas, and we've got Oregon, Michigan. I think that would be fantastic for college football to have those games on New Year's Day.
Tim, I'm not a fan of clean. I'm a fan of dirty. I want FSU winning. I
really do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, look, if Georgia loses to Alabama, it's going to be all sort of dirty, because Georgia is going to be complaining, hey, we're 12-0. We have 3 top 25 wins, 2 in the top 11, right? That schedule, which we all laughed at and said it's terrible. They end up beating Missouri. They're in top 10. They end up beating Ole Miss. They're top 12. Tennessee, for some reason, is still top 25. They beat them. So if Alabama beats Georgia, it is going to be all sorts of dirty come Sunday.
Yeah. All right. Let's do the 30 to 1 minute capsules on this. Your favorite play of all the championship week games is?
I like Boise State. I think Boise State, since firing Andy Avalos, has found a new gear. Their backfield is finally healthy with Genty and Helani. This was my preseason pick to win the Mountain West. Boise State certainly underachieved as the year went on. Some kind of fluky wins to their resume, but I like Boise State. You could find a cheap money line out there. I laid minus $1.30 yesterday. I think it's up to minus 135 or so in some spots. Anything under 3, I'm okay with. Look, UNLV has been phenomenal this year. The best cover team in all of college football, 10-2 on the season. But I think Boise State has just found another gear, Gill, since firing Andy Avalos. And boy, I mean, you talk about a team team that, flipped a switch once they fired their head coach. So I like Boise State either on a short money line price, which is what I laid, or anything under 3. I think they win at Allegiant Stadium on Saturday.
Yeah, Mountain West Championship game is not decided like other championship games. Boise.
How about, by the way, you want dirty? I mean, I have some friends at San Jose State, Gill.
Oh, man.
And they are, let's just say, not pleased how this was all decided. So, that was a very ugly and clunky process to get who is going to be playing in the conference championship.
Sure was. All right, give me your second and third within a minute here.
I kind of like Miami of Ohio. I think they've got a really tough defense. We're starting to see the market move. Where you sit there at the D, that's just moved down to 7. DraftKings is, I think, still 7.5. So I do think Miami, they've played Toledo already. Now, it was a weird situation earlier this year where Miami lost their starting quarterback, Brett Gabbert, in that game against Toledo. But I like Miami to keep this thing close. I don't know if they can win it outright, but I do like the Red Hawks a little bit, catching 7.5. And then if forced to pick another one, I would look a little bit towards Oregon laying 9.5, but haven't made that bet yet. But real quickly, Gil, what's interesting is I'll say this: if you like, if I'm trying to look here. Texas to make the playoff is plus 155. So if you think Louisville is going to beat Florida State, and that's a big if, but if you think Louisville is going to beat Florida State, I would go to DraftKings and play Texas to make the playoff at plus 155 instead of playing Louisville on the money line.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.